This is a Hot Pie Original.
Here's a fascinating move, and I think it's a roll of the dice. This is sort of 6 minutes of football that's not 6 minutes, but this is an interesting story in addition to the football perspective. This is a pretty gutsy roll of the dice. When you coach at the University of Texas, you don't leave. You don't leave. No one ever has left that job willingly. Coaches don't leave from Texas to take other jobs. No one has done that in football. You make so much money. Your program spares no expense. There is nothing that you don't get. Whatever you want, you get. Whatever it costs, you get it. It's relatively low stress. It is. And you're in Austin. Now, there are plenty of good arguments that it's the best coaching job in all of football. And that includes the NFL. I know that's still hard for people to appreciate. Now you're going to think, oh, come on, Warren. I mean, what a suck up. No. I'm telling you, financially, where you live, the low stress that comes with it, there is arguably not a better job in coaching football anywhere. You're going to get a guaranteed deal. You're going to get a long-term contract, and you're going to get rich, and you don't even have to be any good. They'll throw money at you and your family like you've never seen before, and you live in Austin. It's the best place to coach, and it's the best place to get fired. There's no better place to get fired than being the head coach at the University of Texas. Now, I say that because Ames, Iowa is not Austin. I've never been to Ames, Iowa. I don't think I've ever been to Iowa, and I don't plan to ever go to Iowa. No thanks, whatever. So there are more Division I football players within 20 to 25 miles of where I'm sitting right now than all of Iowa. All of Iowa and Nebraska together. Maybe all of Iowa, Nebraska, and Kansas together. So it's not an easy place to coach football. It takes some work, some real work. You go 25 miles around here, you go west of Austin by 2 miles, and you found 5 players. You're not going to find 5 good players in 600 miles in the Midwest. So I bring this up because the ultimate roll of the dice, the head coach at Iowa State, who had Iowa State in the Big 12 championship game last year, which is remarkable by itself. That is impressive. They're in the Fiesta Bowl. Now you're thinking, I've done all I can at Iowa State. You get in the Big 12 championship game, that is the time to erect a statue, and you think, I've done all I can. What is left to do at Iowa State? I've taken it to a place you would never think of before. The head coach at Iowa State is Matt Campbell. He's 70-43 at Iowa State, and he's really, really betting on himself. Some might say betting in a crazy way. He's only 41 years old. And he just turned down an NFL coaching job for $68 million. You're at Iowa State, man. You're not turning down 68 at Texas. If somebody approaches you at Texas and throws $68 million at you, you know what happens? You get 80. They throw 80 at you, you'll get $100 million. At Iowa State, to turn down $68 million in an NFL coaching job, whew, man. I don't know what his parents said. Son, what? Let me get this straight. You're in Ames, Iowa. That place sucks. You just turned down $68 million, and it's the NFL. Yep, I did. So Father's Day is coming up. You're doing the gift boxes. Yep. So here's something that's certainly not a tie or a sweater or a pair of socks. Not a bad idea.
Well, I think it's great if you don't know what to get your dad. I mean, get him some hot sauce. That way he can prove how much of a man he is, right? And this hot sauce will go great, and your dad will love it. So I think it makes a great gift box. You can go to our website and find those there. It come in packs of 4. It's a great box you just give to your dad and say, listen, here, Dad, thanks for being my dad. And it's not that sock that's just going to go in a drawer. It's not that gift card that's going to go in a wallet, never be used again. It's actually something he can share with his friends. And so I think it's a great idea.
All right, order a box now. It's atxhotsauce.com, atxhotsauce.com. That's a big gamble. This is a really fascinating move on a number of levels. I try to tell my kids stuff like this, but you should only have to make 68 million once in your life. You know what I mean? That's it. That should be good enough. At 41, this is a young guy. At 41, he could flame out, and that should be enough. It could be 2-year burnout in the NFL, but you still pocket 68 million, and that should be enough. But he turned it down, and I'm going to assume his calculation goes like this. Remember, this is not a guy leaving Notre Dame, Alabama, Texas, Oklahoma. This is a guy who took Iowa State to the Big 12 championship game. So he's rolling the dice on himself, and he's betting on himself because he turned down the Detroit Lions. They suck. I know. It's still $68 million, and it's still the NFL. But I'm assuming his calculation is this, because this is it's a remarkable story that he turned it down. What an embarrassment for the Detroit Lions. You couldn't hire a guy. Now, granted, he's very marketable, and there's a lot of people thought he'd be coaching right down the road here. But you turned a guy from Iowa State turned you down? Ouch. You know it's a bad city and a bad franchise when the guy from Iowa State turns you down. He turned them down. They offered him $68 million. I believe it was over 6 or 7 years. Would he last 6 or 7 in Detroit? No, of course not. But I think his calculation is this. And this is quite a bet he's making. I mean, it really is from where he is and where he's sitting today. This is a real risk that he's taking, but I get it. So I think the calculation is this. One, it's the Lions. And it's dead end almost no matter what. I mean, you know that there are franchises in the NFL. Even Cleveland has corrected itself. Detroit cannot correct itself. It's just a terribly run franchise. And there's no sign of it really getting much better right now. So part of the calculation is I can't win there. It's going to look bad no matter what. I'm 41. I don't need that on my resume right now. That is a dead-end job. That's a flame out. That's part one of the calculation, I assume. Part two is he's betting that if he can be successful again, then the world opens up to him that's better than Detroit. That world could include USC, that could include Michigan, that could include a better NFL job. So the calculation is, hey, look, if I'm worth $68 million now, and all I had thrown at me was Detroit, I thought I might go to Texas or something like that. If I just do this again, then those options are there for me. Possibly USC, possibly coaching in the NFL in California. Any other job better than Detroit, he's betting opens up for him. Now, that's quite a bet because I don't know what they have left after going to the Big 12 championship game. So that 3, I think, is he's betting that if he can be successful again, and he's a Midwest guy, I'm thinking maybe he says, I'm going to sit back and wait for my dream job, something like the Chicago Bears or the Dallas Cowboys. Right? I mean, they're iffy going forward. And then his calculation pays off. You get the NFL. I might even throw New England in there. Think about that. You're sitting here, you are 41. You've picked something up off the ground. You've taken it to a level unheard of. Your market value has gone up automatically because you've already had NFL money thrown at you. So other NFL franchises are going to say, you know what? Maybe he meets the litmus test. You roll the dice, you stay at Iowa State another year, and now all of a sudden it's not Detroit, the Lions, the crappy Lions call you. It's Gerald Jones. It's Bob Kraft. It's the Bears, it's USC, it's go down the list. That I think is this guy. Seems like a crazy bet to most people. It would seem like a crazy bet to me. You got to jump at 70 million when you can. But I think that's his calculation, which is pretty fascinating to me. It takes some guts. It really does. And it also takes the guy sitting back thinking, okay, I've got to deliver again next year. Am I assuming he doesn't stay in Ames, Iowa? Yes, I'm assuming that. Who would? Crazy. Sitting back betting, I get that much better. I do my job again. And all of a sudden, it's not the Lions calling. When Bob Kraft calls, you jump. When Gerald Jones calls, guess what you do? Take it. And you know what you get with that? You get a quarterback too. Could the guy be thinking of it that deeply? I bet he did. That's the only way anyone could understandably arrive at turning down $68 million.
Listen at JeffWardShow.com.